everybody, welcome to my Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 4 breakdown kind of theory speculation video. This week's episode was by far my favorite that they've released so far. I thought it was much big improvement from episode 3 last week, but also at the same time it added some new elements that I didn't know I wanted until they happened. That being said, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this video, and if you enjoyed this, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Let's get started, guys. Okay, so this episode starts out with Bucky 6 years ago in Wakanda, and he's basically learning how to get rid of everything that's happening with his Winter Soldier things. I don't know, like I said, they do a great job of making you feel the internal struggle that Bucky has, and the way that Sebastian Stan acts it, he's really sad because he's trying to fight these words that have controlled him, and then you can see at the end this moment of relief where he's just crying tears of joy because he no longer has to feel this weight. Then we flash forward and he's talking with Io, and she tells him, hey, you have only 8 hours to turn Zemo back over to us. And this doesn't really come into play till later in this episode, and I'm shocked they actually did it in this episode. I thought they were gonna wait and put that in episode 5, but man, they jam-packed this episode, and they handled it so well. So then we cut to Carly's goons, and they're just absolutely having completely and total mixed feelings about blowing up people. Over the newscast we hear that an innocent person died, someone who'd only been working there for a week, and she doesn't shrug it off, and it kind of bothers her, but she thinks definitely for sure the means justify the end, and that's where her kind of conflict with Sam comes about later. It's also cool to see the other members of the group seem to be questioning her motives. So I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of internal conflict with the Flag Smashers. A lot of them are going to decide, we can't do this, approach this violently. That's not the way that this is going to work. So it was just interesting to see maybe somewhere down the line, maybe episode 6 or something, they have an internal fight and all these super soldiers basically just kind of kill each other off. So then Zemo, Bucky, and Sam are trying to find out information about Carly, trying to basically find out where she's going to be, and they realize that they can do this by finding a memorial service for the lady who died in the last episode. Sam and Bucky fail, and Zemo actually is able to talk to a little girl, and there's this whole thing with his son where he's Turkish delights were my kid's favorite, and he kind of coerces a girl into helping him out and helping their cause. But then that gives him leverage over Bucky and Sam. That does not go over well. Bucky chucks something. I thought that Zemo was just gonna fess up right there. I honestly didn't think that was going to end as well as it did, but it did. After that, we cut to Carly and her dude, and they pull out the super soldier serum and letting the audience know hey, we have more. These are all the doses that we have. These are all 20. But the scene was weird. It was like her friend was the dude talking to the audience. I felt like he was talking to us. He was the world needs someone right now to be the figure, to take up Cap. I was okay, so clearly this is an innuendo for how Sam needs to be that person because he doesn't want to be that person. And I was it's not Carly that they're talking about. The screenwriters were talking about Sam, indirectly, but making it seem like he was talking about Carly. I just thought it was weird. I was like, this is kind of an odd scene. However, it does set up that scene towards the end. You know which one I'm talking about. We'll get to it. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. So while Sam and Bucky and Zemo are headed to the memorial service, they're intercepted by John Walker, who basically caught on because they're Avengers walking in downtown. And John Walker's all right, you know where they're at. We're going to go, we're going to go mess these fools up. And then Sam's actually, let me talk to her. Let me try and speak to her. And at first I was it's not uncalled for Sam to do this, but I was this is kind of an interesting take that he's taking. And then we get to the scene where they're actually talking. Sam says, hey, I need 10 minutes with her. And John Walker's fine, I'll give you 10 minutes. And he's actually talking with her. And he's I can't help the millions of people, but I understand what you're going through. I can help you. It really turned me around on Sam. I was, I've been iffy the past couple of episodes about whether or not it's morally okay for him to be messing with Zemo. But this episode with that scene with him and Carly, I was I'm ready for him to be Captain America. I was I'm on board. He's what I thought Cap should be. He basically just did it. He was no, I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to explain that we are have similar backgrounds, but she's going about it the wrong way, which is something that always happens in the MCU with the villains, but they never just sit down and talk about it. And Sam took the move to go. He made the first step to go and say, I'm going to just go talk to her about it, and then we're going to try and settle our differences this way. Naturally, of course, this doesn't work out because JW, John Walker, charges up in there with his shield and tries to kill her. He doesn't even hold back. And then this leads to a whole, like, altercation where she doesn't believe Sam anymore, basically. Like, she kind of half believes him, but not really. And everyone's chasing each other, and Zemo and Carly come face to face, and boom, boom, boom. He shoots Carly. The super soldier serums go everywhere. They go absolutely everywhere. Then Zemo picks up part of the serum. Like, he picks up one of them, and he's looking at it. And for a second, I was like, oh, he's about to take it. Like, he's just gonna do the 360 flip so he can eliminate all the super soldiers. But then he does exactly what I wanted him to do, and he just takes it and he just fucking... So he starts smashing them, and then John Walker comes in with the boom and just hits him across the head and absolutely knocks him out. John finds one of them and pockets it. And we all knew where this was going. So after this altercation, they all go back to their little bunkhouse thing. Zemo's got an ice pack on his head. And Zemo asks Sam, he's like, hey, if you had the chance to take the serum, would you? And Sam says what we want Captain America to say. He's not seeking power. He doesn't adamantly hope to get more powerful. He just hopes to do the best job he can with the skills that he has available to him. So Sam says, no, I wouldn't take the serum. They're changing my mind, dude. They've completely switched how I was feeling about Sam. I'm 100% for him becoming Captain America. It makes perfect sense. I'm literally waiting for him to pick up the shield. This moment, of course, gets interrupted by John Walker, who then gets interrupted by the Wakandans, and they beat everybody's ass. And John Walker, like, at the end of it, I was starting to feel bad for him. He goes, they weren't even super soldiers and I couldn't beat them. I was like, oh my God, poor guy. Like, he has so much pressure on him to be the Captain America that everybody wants him to be. But he literally does not have the abilities to do so. Sam doesn't have the abilities to do so, but it doesn't bother him because he's not worried about his ego and he's not worried about taking up that mantle. He's just worried about being the best hero. John Walker is worried about being the best he can be for the job. When in reality, if he wasn't worried about that, he'd probably do better than he would anyway. He just has a lot of self-esteem issues, clearly. So in dealing with his self-esteem issues, him and Battlestar? Starscream? Him and his buddy, I think it's Battlestar. Him and his buddy Battlestar, they're talking and they're like, hell yeah, we would take it if we could. Hell yeah. Yeah, totally jump on that board. And this, like, immediately leads, you know where it's going. John is like, yeah, okay, well, hell yeah, we should take it. So in the next scene he's in, he's clearly juiced up. Getting to that scene, Carly calls Sarah and talks with Sam's sister to, like, persuade Sam to get there. And they have this, like, 2-second moment. I was so quick. Like, they meet up, and he's like, how could you threaten my sister? She's like, I didn't actually mean to threaten your sister. You need me. I'm Batman. Anyway, it's interrupted by the fact that John Walker is finding out where their base is. So Sam, Bucky, and Carly all sprint to go and meet John Walker, and this leads to this whole altercation. We see John Walker has the ability because he throws his shield and it literally gets lodged into a wall, just like Cap's would. And then Carly makes the mistake of killing John Walker's friend, Battlestar. She just absolutely death punched him in the chest. And I could just, like, feel his, like, chest completely caving in. And then he just hits the back wall. And just gets absolutely wrecked. He dies. Yikes. So then John Walker is clearly pissed. And he chases down Carly's friend to try and find Carly. Clearly he just wanted some, because they killed his best friend. And he, like, throws his shield at him. He knocks him on the stairs, and he's laying there on the stairs. He's like, I don't know where she's at. I don't know anything about it. And it's a little homage to the scene in Civil War. John Walker lifts up the shield and just absolutely caves in this man's chest. What? Caves in this man's chest, picks up the shield, slides it back on his arm, does a little shrug off, like, and, like, checks his nose, and it's just covered in blood. What streaming service is this? This is not Disney Plus material. This is Netflix level blood. Like, it's all up and down the shield. It's not pretty. It was not pretty. It was so cool. We've never seen blood on the shield before. And the way that it just makes you feel like the weight of the situation, like you just feel like, oh my God, this legacy has just been absolutely tarnished. Also, it's like a cool callback. I don't know how many people have read Old Man Logan, but in Old Man Logan, like Wolverine kills Red Skull dressed in the Captain America costume with the shield, and it was like almost frame for frame that. Like they were homaging that in Civil War, it felt like, and then they completed the homage with this, where John Walker just like murders this dude. It amplifies what you have. So if you are a morally gray person, you become morally darker, I guess, because gray is naturally a gray color. If you're like Steve and you're a morally, good person, it becomes greater. So John Walker is trying to be a good person, but he comes from a morally gray background. Like he's been in the war. It's like this whole thing, and he's like the opposite of Bucky, where Bucky has a super soldier serum and he was tortured and he like went through all this trauma and now he's come out a better person. John Walker has gone through the trauma and just remained in that limbo. Okay, my theories for this week are relatively the same. I think Sam is somehow going to get the serum, but I don't think it's going to be his own, I don't think it's going to be his own doing. I think someone's just going to walk up behind him and nick him, just like stick him right in the neck. And then he's going to get the super soldier serum. But I'm only like 40% on that now. Part of me is like, it might be cool just to have Sam be a human. But if he is just a human, he's easily going to get destroyed by everyone else around him. So like I said, I swear I saw two. I paused it. There was a blue thing, and then it pans, and there was another blue thing. I think Carly might die or be affected in some way. And then when the next time they see each other, she might just be the person you say that you are going to be. And she just nicks him without him knowing. And then he becomes a super soldier fed up Captain America. But we'll see. I mean, he has the wings, so maybe that's not necessary. My next theory is that the next episode is going to begin with Bucky, Sam, and John Walker fighting. It's going to be a three-way match. I think John Walker is going to get his ass handed to him, and then they're going to steal the shield. That's how they get the shield. Clearly Bucky would be angry about what he's seeing, right? He would be like, you've tarnished the legacy of the shield, and he would try to start an altercation with John Walker. Bucky versus John Walker, Bucky wins. Unless they're crazy and they do something out of pocket, but there's no chance there. Bucky is going to take the shield and give it to Sam, or Sam is going to take the shield and do whatever with it. I just think that was enough inspiration for Bucky and Sam and John Walker all to fight, and then John Walker will be removed of his rank, and somehow, because that's not a good look for America, and that's not a good look for their little propaganda agent, so John Walker's not going to be U.S. agent or Captain America very much longer, unless they just really feel like they need him. And my final theory is, I think Power Broker might be Sharon Carter? Maybe? I'm not 100% on that, but she's acting kind of sketchy sometimes. She has this whole art collection museum. She seems to have her own underground business in Madripoor. Maybe she is Power Broker and that was some money that she was lost through Carly, because she seems very eager to help them find Carly. And she, in the an episode ago, she was like, we have two major problems. One of them would be that that the doctor has died. And then the other would be that maybe Zemo's out. I don't know. But I think there's a chance Sharon might be Power Broker, maybe. But I feel like that'd also be pretty obvious. Maybe it's a character we haven't seen yet, but I don't feel like there's enough time to flesh that out. So we'll see what happens. That is going to do it for my Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 4 breakdown and theory speculation. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It really, really helps me out. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.